lot of things happening for everyone here with the holidays coming up. But we are back with another episode. We are live on iHeartRadio, Spotify, on all the podcast platforms. And fans, please tune in. You guys already know about the Spreaker app where you can tune in and ask questions for any guest that comes on the show. But before we introduce today's guest, we have a special guest today, former NBA player. But before we get to that, fans, you can also tune in the other podcasts like Apple Podcasts, also not only Spreaker, but Spreaker obviously put your questions in there and then we'll answer some of your questions. But without further ado, we got Mike James. He's a former NBA point guard. He played with a bunch of teams. He won the NBA championship in 2004 with the Detroit Pistons. Also, he played overseas basketball. He won the championship in the Australian League, which we'll get to. And man, looked at his resume, amazing, great point guard, great career, great player. Like I said, played with a bunch of teams uh, and put up big numbers as a point guard. And in my opinion, he was an underrated player in the NBA and when he was playing overseas. But Mike James, thank you for joining the show. Truly an honor. And how are you and your family doing today? And he's doing big things off the court now with a lot of preaching and putting videos out there and helping people get motivated. So we'll get to all that too. And thank you for joining. How are you and your family doing today?
Good, man. Won't complain. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, speaking of the Pistons, you're like this. 4 years ago, on my 25th birthday, I actually had Isaiah Thomas on the show here, on our show, the Bad Boy Piston guy, and obviously a legend in Detroit. But we'll get to your Pistons career. But before we get to your journey, I just want to talk about what are your thoughts so far this early NBA in this year's NBA season? What are your thoughts if you've been watching?
One, it's unfortunate, that so many injuries has happened so early in the season. And I think that, the difference between the game now is guys really took the off season serious. When I played the game, from conditioning to playing full court basketball, competing against each other to weightlifting to whatever they had to do. I don't really think it's really difficult to see because I don't really know if the players really put the effort into their bodies. It's unfortunate to see someone like Joel Embiid come in like having such a difficult time just to get back up and down the court. You go from MVP to now just a regular center. And that's the thing about this game that is so interesting is that if you don't do the necessary, you're not guaranteed to be great.
Yeah.
You're not guaranteed to be you're gonna you because you did it last year, or I'm guaranteed that I'm gonna do it this year again. It just doesn't work like that. If you had success last year in the game, well then the off season is supposed to be, man, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. I can't wait to do this. Because next season, if I done this last season, I'm coming back next season. And I don't think that
Right.
these kids have that type of mindset.
Mhm.
I think that they feel like once they gained a little success, it's like, oh, I can chill now.
Hmm.
I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna go on vacation. I'm gonna go do whatever I'm gonna do, but it ain't nothing to invest into the game. It's only to just enjoy themselves. And then when you wonder why there's such a lack between what a person accomplished last year or even injury prone or all these things all play in the picture. They all talk about load management, but it's really not load management. It's really managing the off season before the season start, and this is where the players is having the breakdown.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting take from you. And like some of the, I agree with you. Some of these young players, they obviously a lot of they do train, but like you said, some players maybe like take a step back when the off season comes, and then gets sometimes gets too and then too hung up with other things. But you got to be consistently training, especially being a basketball player. And yeah, that's an interesting take from you. But I want to get into your career. Tell our fans, you were born in New York, so talk about your early life and when did you get interested in playing basketball? And did you play any other sports growing up?
I played football. I played football. I was pretty good in football also. I quit when I broke my wrist though in ninth grade. I broke my wrist and we had basketball tryouts and I said I'm done. We played on Friday. I handed my uniform in on Monday and told the coaches, I hope y'all have a great career. Good luck in the future. Don't ever have me come out here and play this sport again. Like I'm a basketball player, but I played that was my safe place. I can always go on the basketball court and feel secure, feel safety. It was the only place in the community that there really wasn't no issues, no problems, was the basketball court. So, we as kids, these are the things that the kids in the neighborhood, we either play football, we either play basketball. It wasn't too many other sports kids were playing in the community.
Yeah, and speaking of football, what position did you play?
Well, I was the quarterback. Come on, what you
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
I gotta play the best. I gotta play the most graceful position on the
hey.
but I also play defensive back.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? So I like touchdowns, but I love hitting.
Hey.
I love seeing somebody looking like a pretzel over there in the corner, and it's because of me. That used to get me excited, hitting somebody as hard as I possibly could.
Wow. Hey, so you got to play the three most important positions in all sports of quarterback, point guard, and defensive back. Those are like the three key positions in sports, in my opinion.
No, the reason you got to understand the reason why the quarterback and the point guard is so similar,
Yeah.
and even the defensive. But no, the defensive back, yeah, but it's defense. But the difference is everyone is watching the point guard on the court. All nine players are looking at the point guard, and the point guard has to know where his four players are in position. He has to know everybody's position on the court, and he has to be able to tell where you go, where you go, where you go,
Yeah.
where all the other positions just have to know their position. You know what I mean? As a five, I just have to know what the five does. Okay, when he calls this number, I come up, set a screen, and I go down and I post up. Whereas the point guard got to know, okay, he's going to do this, he's going to do this, he's going to do this. And so, as a coach, point guards have always made better coaches because they've always had to analyze the whole game. And so even though the game is going so fast, they still have to be the choreographer. They still have to construct everything. They still got to, okay, you not open, but you open. So if I
Right.
go here and you come to me, I got to pass to you. I got to throw it over here. I got to make sure that you set the screen over here. No, you out of position, man. Go down and go set that screen. You forgot to play. This
Yeah.
is your play and you forgot your play. But I remember for you because I'm the point guard. So all the responsibility is supposed to be on the point guard. That's the reason why the point guard becomes the coach's general on the court because he's basically the coach on the court. And he's the one, that's the reason why the coach is always wanting to relay things to the point guard and look at me and let me tell you plays because I can't play, but I can play vicariously through you. You're my coach out there because you're supposed to know everything that's going on out there, and I trust you like that. And it's the same thing with a quarterback.
Hmm. Yeah. So we are live at Mike James, NBA champion. Please tune in, fans. We already have a few fan questions here on my phone, and one of our fans wants to know: do you have any? What are your surprise teams so far in this NBA season, that record-wise, and how they're playing? They want to know some of your surprise teams this year.
Man, Cleveland.
Yeah.
You know what these guys is doing, they can go on a 5-game losing streak and still be in first place. They built such a great, they're building such a momentum for themselves that no matter if whatever breakdown they have at any given time in the season, they can catch it. They can now see the problem is when you start off 0-5, 0-10, You have to dig such a hole. You got to dig yourself out of such a hole. It's going to take so much more time and so much energy to dig out of the hole. By the time you get 500, you had to win 8, 9, 10 games in a row just to get 500. So now that might be the team exerting all this energy, and
Right.
then they might go back on a 5-game losing streak. So now you back under 500. But when you're playing at that level, you give yourself such a great chance. And the momentum that you're able to carry throughout this time, man, they're basically letting teams know we're for real and we have a chemistry. And hey, I'm not mad at you, man. No one really taking them serious right now. They waiting for them to have that fall off. But every night they showing this is who they are. They creating an identity for themselves.
Yeah, and we have another fan question here. One of our fans wants to know what was it like playing against LeBron James, the playing against the late Kobe Bryant, and all the stars that were out there, Dwayne Wade, you name it, Shaq or whatever. So talk about what was it like playing against them, those players.
I mean, it's basketball. When you get to that level, you can't be starstruck. You
Yeah.
can't be awed. You have a scouting report about each individual player. They have a scouting report about each individual player. And it's whose team is the most equipped that night and who's working on all cylinders that night to win the game. And that becomes the only focus, is can I compete? And if I can compete at that level, I no longer look at individual, well, you're a great individual talent. You may be a great individual talent, but tonight you're going to be average. And so, you play against these guys, but then you also understand Pat Riley, my rookie year, Pat Riley made this statement. He used to always, he used to always, he used to always, he used to always say, he used to always say, he used to give us speeches before every practice, every game, every day. He'll have like just a motivational speech for us. And this one particular day, I was like, man, what is this dude going to say? Like, he always going to say something. Like, what are you going to say today? But mind you, every time he said a speech, he would make me feel like I'm about to run through a brick wall for him. And today I was just like, he ain't going to say nothing that's going to motivate me this much. I'm not going for it. Like, I'm ready for you today, coach. And he made a statement and he said, the way you respect a basketball player is by not respecting them at all. And I looked up and I said, screw him, coach. In
Hmm.
my head, I was like, screw him. I was like, don't have no respect for them at all. And this is how I'm going to show that I respect them.
Hmm.
I said, oh, I don't respect none of y'all no more. And so from that day forward, I played with such an anger and a chip. I
Yeah.
was really showing I don't respect you at all out here on this court. Coach Riley told me not to respect you. And he told me the way that I respect you is by not respecting you at all. So I'm not going to respect your name. I don't care what title you hold. When you play against me, you just you. I'm me. And it's going to be who's talent and who's talent and who works at the higher level. Give me 1 second.
No, all right, guys, you'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so tell our fans, you went talk about your college recruitment. You went to Duquesne University, and let's talk about what was it like with your college recruitment, and did any other colleges offer you a thing, or what made you choose Duquesne University?
Well, for the record, the main well, I got recruited out the park when I when I got recruited from Duquesne. It was during the time where, it wasn't really too many schools looking at me. I had a few Division II schools recruiting me, and my coach, basically, my AAU coach, he told me, "Hey, there's this school. They have one scholarship left, and they're coming into the park to come see you play. And you better be there, Mike." And I was like, "Who's the school?" And he was like, "Duquesne." I was like, "Duquesne? Who is that? What is that?" He was like, I was like, "Is it D1?" He was like, "Yeah, it's D1." I said, "Bet, I'll be there." I made two moves. They saw me play, and they brought me. I played. It was we played pickup. It was pickup basketball. We played on Sunday. They brought me on a visit on Wednesday. I signed my scholarship, and it was so late in the. It was so late in the summer that I didn't have to. I didn't sign a letter of intent. I didn't sign a scholarship. They basically gave me one of those stickies, the yellow stickies, the note
Yeah.
stickies, and basically said, "This is the secretary's number. Trust me, you got a scholarship on the first day. Come to school on this date, and here you go." And that was my introduction and how I got my scholarship to college.
Wow, that's amazing. Tell our fans what was it like playing for Duquesne? They also retired your jersey number after you finished your playing career there, and talk about that when they retired your jersey number, and you put up some great numbers with Duquesne throughout your career.
You know, I'll tell here go an interesting story. My freshman year at Duquesne, John Carroll was the head coach. He didn't recruit me. It was Danny Holzer was his name that recruited me, that came and saw me. So John Carroll didn't know me. Danny Holzer knew me, but John Carroll was the head coach making all the decisions. So when he saw me come down for the visit or whatever, and as the season went on, he basically really didn't like me not too much. And I can remember our point guard got hurt,
Hmm.
and he basically said, "I refuse to let you play. I would rather have a point guard start before I let you get on the basketball court. You're the worst basketball player I've ever seen play the game." And he got fired my freshman year. The second year, I made third team All Atlantic 10. My junior year, I didn't make nothing. My senior year, I made first team All Atlantic 10. Fast forward, my third year in the NBA, I was starting point guard for the Boston Celtics. John Carroll was the head assistant coach for the Boston Celtics. Uh, what is his name? I can't remember the coach at the time. Jim O'Brien. He was the coach at the time. He quit.
Hmm.
When he quit, John Carroll became the head assistant coach for the Boston Celtics, and I was his starting point guard
Oh wow.
for the Boston Celtics. And this is the same man that told me I was the worst basketball player he's ever seen play the game of basketball, and he'd rather have a walk on start. And here it is, I'm playing at the highest level, and he's telling me what plays to run. And
Wow.
he's telling me, and so those was, stories like that. It always reminds me, even when I'm speaking about mental health with kids,
Yeah.
where you never allow what people say about you be the determining factor what you say about yourself. If you depend on people to make you feel good, or it's people that put you in a bad mood, well, then you basically become a slave to that person,
Right.
because now no person is supposed to have that much authority in your feelings, in your emotions. Your emotions are supposed to be constructed by you. And so if you allow what people say about you be the determining factor, well, people don't think like you, so they can never be you. So they really don't know what's inside of you, making the passion behind what you do. So if somebody that doesn't have the same passion inside you is able to dampen your fire, is able to like knock out what adrenaline you have in you for your purpose and your goals. It's like, yo, you'll never make it in life because you're always going to depend on when somebody say something bad about you or somebody say something that hurts your feelings. The first thing you're going to do is go into a stupor. So I've always been able to allow what people said against me, it was fuel to my fire, and it became one of those, I'm going to show you, I'm going to prove to you, you'll see, don't even worry about it. This is how it looks now, but this ain't going to be the final chapter. So because it ain't the final chapter, you can laugh now at this moment.
Uh, yeah,
That's okay.
yeah. We have another fan question for you. One of our fans wants to know, outside of winning the championship, what would you say your other best moments were playing in your playing career? They want to know.
mm. uh I guess the year that I had in Toronto, that was so much fun. um just the opportunity to play and just be free. And I wasn't able to do it for my whole career, but for a season, I was able to showcase, my talent and my skill against every team and every individual that season. And so that was definitely, and other than up until Fred VanVleet,
Hmm.
I was the only player in NBA history to average 20 points and not be drafted.
Wow.
And so Fred VanVleet, he just broke that,
Yep.
when he was in Toronto, when he was averaging like 21, 22. So then I became relevant again. It was like, yeah, this is like a real big thing since Mike James. So that's like one of those like Jeopardy questions right there.
Did you reach out to Fred afterwards or?
No, no, not at all. That ain't like no breaking 20,000 points. They didn't have me at the game hugging them.
Yeah, talk about you play with a lot of teams. So, how was tell our fans? I'm just curious. How was it for you and your family to be traveling all the time in your career and going to different teams, experience different cultures also? Because not only NBA, you played overseas and you won the Australian Championship too. But let's talk about the travel time with you and your family and all.
I mean, that's the one thing. That's the reason why I always make the statement that there's no honor amongst thieves. They get mad at the player when the player want to get traded, and the player don't want to play for this team no longer, and they like, oh, you should be grateful. Oh, I can't believe you want to leave and all. But then a team can just trade you in the middle of the night and just say, oh, by the way, you're going to be in Utah now. And it's like, wait a minute, my kids just went to started school last week, and they like, and what does that got to do with me? Here go the number or whoever you need to call to get your stuff,
Yeah.
and you figure it out. Here go the new team going on, and you're gonna have somebody, and you got to figure out schools, you got to figure out transport, you got to figure out how to unload this house, get this, you got to put this house on the market because you don't live in this city no longer. So now you got to find a new place, you got to look for. So come on. So when they make the statement, they get angry at the player for when the player's like, you know what, I don't want to be here no more. I always basically said, man, there's no honor amongst these because at any given time, it's part of the game and it's the business of the game, and you understand that. But at the end of the day, everybody suffers in those situations. It's not just one person. It's not just, oh, you up and going to another team. You really don't know what type of foundations a person created on those teams in those cities, what type of businesses they opened up, what type of where the kids is going to school, where all this different stuff. And then now you gotta stop, pause your life just to play it in a new city, in a new environment, in a new place, and you got to pick up where you left off without missing a beat
Hmm.
because you can't miss a beat
Right.
because missing a beat can get you on the bench or cut.
Yep.
So you better not have no emotions involved right now. You better not have no feelings involved right now. We ain't got time for none of that. Here go your new teammates. How you doing? Here go 3 plays. We playing tonight. Get these 3 new plays, and then tomorrow we got to practice where you can learn some more. But you're gonna figure this out on the fly.
Well,
You tell me how that go. You tell me how you feel.
yeah.
For the fan that asked that question, how you think you would have to feel? How would you think mentally you would have to be able to shake back? And you got no choice.
I mean, we got to balance. You got to balance it somehow, in my opinion, when it comes to the traveling and with the family and then the movements and all too. So I think for me, it's like balancing it out.
I mean, what do you balance? What is there to balance when it just happens? You balance things. You balance things basically by measuring it and putting it on a scale. And no, this is thrown at you. How can you balance something that's thrown at you? You could wake up to this. You could be in the barbershop and find out you got traded.
Hmm.
Guys had some weird places where they found out that they got traded, the things that they were doing. You know what I mean? And so when it happens, you just got to answer the call.
Yeah, and plus it's a business too. So sometimes we got to deal with it, and then
Yeah, that's the reason why when a player say, you know what, I don't want to be here no more, trade me. I ain't mad at him.
yeah,
Go ahead, you do what you got to do to make you give you your piece. And if it's working and it's in the system, do your thing, leave, bye.
yeah,
Because it's going to do you no good to be there, and now you're not helping the team, and the team's not helping you. So it's like go somewhere where you both can grow. Y'all both can grow and build.
yeah. That's true. And yeah, tell our fans talk about what was it like winning the championship in the Australian League, and what was that experience like playing over there?
Austria. That
Yeah,
was my first year.
Austria. Yeah,
Yeah, that was my first year in Europe. You
yeah,
know, first opportunity, and man, I didn't have too many people. Just like Duquesne was the school knocking at my one school. Found me. It was the same. It was kind of like the same thing. I didn't have no teams really looking for me after I graduated.
yeah.
I couldn't even get it. I couldn't even get a European job. I practically had to beg. Just trust me. Just give me a chance. They'd be like, all right, we bring you on a. They'd be like, all right, we'll bring you to a tournament. If you don't play well, we got a round trip flight for you coming back. And then I get to the tournament and I'm the MVP, averaging dang near 50. And they like, who is this kid? And I'm just like, whatever. And y'all got me for a freaking a bag of potato chips and some cookies and some ice pops. So it's just like, I've always been put in those situations where it's hard for me to get the opportunity, but then when I get the opportunity, I'm the best player in the league. That's what, and when I was in Austria, it was just like they didn't even want me. They was looking, but then I'm like the MVP on the team, up for MVP for the league. I go to France the next year. The team don't even really want me. They bring me to like one of those trips just to test me out and see. I wind up being MVP again. Everybody loved me. They got me for bubble gum and a bag of potato chips again. But I'm starting to build a name for myself.
Right.
Now the Euro League teams are starting to take notice of me now.
Mhm.
And the Paul Tez and the Gal and so the Villabons and so now I'm like, okay, that next year I went to Nancy
Yeah,
making now I'm starting to make a couple dollars now. And then I finally got my opportunity. No, that summer before I went to Nancy,
hmm.
I played in a summer league game in Miami, a summer league tournament in Miami, the Ed Pinckney Summer League. And, it was a whole bunch of players there. And I basically killed the summer league. And Ed was telling the Miami Heat about me. And it was like, yo, you should watch this kid. This kid has really got a chance. And the funny thing is, my wife at the time, she was pregnant with our first child.
Hmm.
And I was in Miami and I was like, yo, I gotta go home. And the championship game that I didn't go to, Miami Heat whole staff came to that championship game. But I went home to go see my newborn daughter, which I didn't see her for the first 2 weeks of her being born because I was at this summer league
Right.
trying to get seen and trying to get and make a name for myself. So then I went to Europe that year, and then came back, and Miami brought me to like a little workout, like a 7 day, a 5 day workout, and I completely destroyed the workout. And they were like, "Yo, we couldn't evaluate you in 5 days. Can you stay a week?" I said, "Yeah." So they gave me per diem. I stayed in the week. They brought like 20 free agent guards in. I killed all of them. They said, "Hey, we couldn't evaluate you in 2 weeks. Can you stay another 2 weeks?" I said, "Sure." They brought in another 20 guards, destroyed them, and they said it again. And then they basically signed me. They gave me a partial contract at that point. And, I got cut, went to the CBA, and, but then came back. But that's how my career basically started. And it started from that point. But at the end of it, being in Europe, that really gave me an opportunity to play and gain the confidence on a professional level.
Yeah.
And now when I got a chance to play in the NBA, I was already a 3-year pro.
Mhm.
I wasn't just coming out fresh, young, like I'm a little mature. I'm a mature rookie. So now I'm 27, 28 years old, just now coming into the league. And so I had a different mindset, but at the same time, it was those years in Europe that really helped shape who the player I was.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And what did you learn over there with the food wise, culture wise, and the speaking the language or talk?
Um, my problem was the ignorance of the immature. I won't say ignorance. I'll say the immaturity of
Mhm.
who I was. And I was the only person I can remember. Elvin Hayes. When
Mhm.
I was in Europe, he had a car dealership. He sold me my first lemon, actually.
Oh wow.
Like, but he I can remember going to the car dealership. This is when my second year in Europe. And I was like, "Yo, I'm happy to see you and meet you," and da da da. He was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Yo," he was like, "Where do you play?" And I was like, "Yo, I play in Europe right now, but I'm going to the league." And he was like, "Yeah," he tapped me on my head and was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, that's nice, young man." Like, you know what I mean? So I was like, "All right," like I'm going, I was like, so even my mindset when I was over there, I was so focused on I'm going to the league that I didn't give myself time to pay attention to the culture. I didn't give myself time to accept the culture, to appreciate and value the culture and appreciate the moment. I was so far fetched and so far ahead that the moment was such a beautiful moment that I really didn't, well, I wasn't. And that's one of the things I do regret is not really valuing that moment and appreciating living in another culture, appreciating a new language, and really taking the effort to try to learn it and embrace it. I didn't embrace it. I was like, "Man, I ain't gonna be here long anyway. I'm going to the league," even though I'm the only one that's thinking this. There
Yeah.
is absolutely no other person in the in the frequency that is saying Mike James is going to the league. I'm the only one that thinks that I'm going to the league at this point. And so it would have done me so much more justice just to enjoy the moment instead of having this vision. But at the same time, it was that same hunger, same drive. The very thing that made me bad in areas was the very thing that made me so good in other areas.
We have another fan question here on my phone. One of our fans wants to know who was some of the funniest teammates that you played with in your career.
Funniest teammates?
Yeah.
Oh man, Bonzi Wells,
Hmm.
classic. DJ Augustine,
Oh, nice. Yep.
classic. Who else was funny? I don't know, man.
Hmm.
Bonzi was probably one of DJ's funny. Bonzi was funny. Nick Young was goofy.
Swaggy.
Like he was goofy. But I didn't have, huh? They
Swaggy
used to
P.
say I was
Swaggy.
funny. They used to say I was funny, but they also called me the angry pastor
Oh,
because I would want to fight you and then I want to pray for you.
Also,
I had too many emotions going on inside me. I was like, I love you. God bless you. I want to kill you.
they also call you Big Mike James though, Big Mike James.
Uh, yeah, man, come on. That's the one thing I can say is that I've never, I, I've always, no player really can say nothing bad about me.
No,
Like no player, like I never had like a moment where I was out of character.
yeah,
No matter what team I was on, no matter what individual it was, they can all say one thing out of their mouth as a and synchronize. Mike James is thorough. And that's the one thing that, across the board that I've always prided myself on is my character.
yeah,
My character never changed. It never switched up no matter what team, whether I was on this team in this morning, I was on this team at night, or I was in the G League, or wherever I came in contact with whomever in that moment, I always was the type of person that made impressions.
right.
So impressions was always made in those moments, whether I was there for a month or I was there for a year or I was there for 6 years. I stamped who I was on a person.
What was it like playing with Swaggy P?
Nick off the chain. Let me tell you, okay, I'm gonna tell I'm gonna tell this story. See, I remember we was playing against Phoenix the next night. I don't know. We lost to someone and we
Mm,
had a back to back. And we flew into Phoenix like 2, 3 in the morning. We got in real late. I told the bellman, listen, I'm just gonna leave I like chain my door when I come in. I just told him, listen, I wait for the bellman to come in and then I chain my door. But I was so tired, I was like, just come in. Like just when you bring my bag, just bring my bag and drop it. I'm not chaining the door, I'm going to bed. So as I'm going to bed, I feel like my head is just now starting to relax on the bed. And and then all of a sudden,
oh, something happened. All right. Some technical difficulties, and you should be back soon. Yeah, but what a great episode so far, guys. Mike James, man, NBA champion, joining us right now. Just keep bringing in the questions until he comes back. Right now, he's telling a story about Swaggy P, Nick Young. Yeah, let me see. Yeah. So, what are you guys' thoughts on the episode so far? This is a good one, in my opinion, and he's telling some good stories right now. Here we go. He's back. All right.
yeah, but anyway, so Andre Blatch, Nick Young, JaVale McGee, all of them, they all was in my room and
Your,
they like ran out of my room. I was screaming like
your screen.
and so
Oh, sorry.
huh?
I can't see your screen.
Okay.
Oh, oh, there we go. Yep.
Yeah, so they ran in my room, and so they came in my room. I was screaming, so they laughing, running out the room now. So now I'm angry. I
Oh,
can't go to sleep now. So now in my head, I'm sitting there like, I can't believe they just invaded my privacy. So
wow.
one part of me is saying, Mike, leave it alone. It's just practical jokes. And then another side of me is like, yo, if they did it this time, they're gonna do it again to you. You got to nip it in the bud. So I'm having this conversation with myself. It's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. I am pissed off right now. And then all of a sudden, we we're the next morning, they laughing and telling all the teammates about what happened. I went to them. I put my hand in their food. I said, I promise you, y'all not even gonna be able to eat around me. I'm gonna get y'all. So then I was like, because Andre Blatch is like 6'8", 260. He's like a big monster. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stab Andre. I said, I'm not playing with him. So I grabbed a butter knife and I said, you know what? I don't want to hurt him this bad. I said, okay, I'm gonna get a pen. So I grabbed a pen. So we're in the elevator right now. And him and I is like, I'm mad right now, but he's still playing. And he's like trying to joke with me. And Nick is trying to, like, they're trying to jump me in the elevator. So they still like, ha, 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 ha. But there is no laugh on my face right now. So I take the pin out and I'm trying to like stab Dre with the pin. And he's like looking at me like, Mike, what the hell is wrong with you? It was a joke. Like, what are you doing right now? And I'm sitting there. So I stabbed him in the hand and the pin broke, right? So he's bleeding all over the place. And then Nick, I don't know, he's just in the way right now. So the coaches get a whiff of it. They basically said, yo, they cussed us out. I went and apologized to the coaches. I was like, yo, it's my fault. I'm gonna stop. And then so we getting ready for the game. It's 60 minutes left on the clock. I'm stretching. I got my headphones on. I'm thinking about the game. Nick Young comes up to me and he says, yo, Mike, yo, you broke my headphones. I said, Nick, you say one more word to me, I promise you it's going to be a problem. Like, please leave me alone right now. He said, nah, Mike, I'm saying. And as soon as by the time he got, nah, Mike, I'm saying out of his mouth, I jumped up, slammed him to the ground, and I was holding him down. I put my thumb in his neck right here. And I was holding him down with one finger. But in my head, I was thinking, yo, I will hurt you. Here I am. Look at me. I'm holding you down right now with one finger. Like, stop playing with me. But as I was doing it, my finger kept going deeper and deeper into his neck. And I felt it. And I said, and I jumped my hand away. So he jumped up. He got tears in his eyes. And I said, listen, however you feel, whatever you feel like you need to do, make your move or go get ready for this game and leave me alone. So he nothing happened, whatever. He tried to get his boys to get me though. First of all, he's gonna get his whole LA crew to like jump on me. Like they all looking at me in the game like this now, but whatever. But he the funny part, I threw Andre Blatch a pass.
Mm-hmm.
I threw Andre Blatch a pass in the game, and the ball went out of bounds. Right. And I said, man, why you didn't catch the ball? He said, Mike, you stabbed me in my hand. I said, you shouldn't have ran in my room. I said, you apologize, I apologize.
Wow. That's a funny story right there. Wow. Have you told that story before or no? This is the first time you're telling the story.
No, I don't think I've ever told anyone that story.
Oh wow.
I don't think I've ever told anyone.
That's
I
crazy.
tell you, my funniest moment in the NBA, well, it's my toughest moment and it's my funniest moment to myself. Just the way everything played out. I remember I was going to fight Shaq, right? And we're playing against Miami. I'm in Toronto. We're playing against Miami. And Shaq is like, I'm coming in the game. I sub out, I come back in, and he's cursing me out. He's like, you punk, you ain't sugar honey, like you ain't this, you ain't that. And I'm like, yo, you don't even know me. Why is you talking to me? Like, why is he talking to me? First of all, why is he talking to me like that? And he called me a female dog. And he was like, and I'm sitting there like, we going back and forth. And then, so now the game is over, mind you. So now I'm mad the whole game, but the game is over now. We lost. I had like 35, whatever, but I played so angry. Shaq is they're in front of their bench. They're in front of, they're at the free throw line. He's at the free throw line by their bench. My whole team goes into the locker room the other way. I have one teammate that is like watching what's happening, and he's the only one that stayed. He wasn't going to help me. He was just being nosy, and he was sitting all the way back, like watching what was going on. Joey Graham. And Shaq was at the free throw line. I wasn't right next to Shaq in his face like this, but I was in a space where if he tried to grab me, he got to take a step and grab me. He don't just have to just grab me. I'm just not going to just let this big dude just grab me. You know, he gonna have to like move and grab me. So I made sure I had some distance between me, but I was staring at him for about maybe 10, 15 seconds. And I just kept staring at him. And I didn't take my eyes off him, but he didn't acknowledge me at all. He was talking to all his friends. He was talking to all his teammates, high-fiving his teammates. So I walked away, bitch ass. And my chest was out here, my throat, my back was out. And I had to walk all the way to the other end. This was probably my baddest moment I ever had. This was like my Bruce Lee moment when I called Shaq Dad and walked away and he didn't do nothing. So as I'm walking away, my teammate, he stopped me at our bench down the other end. He looked at me and he said, Mike, you was gonna fight Shaq. And I'm like, I'm in my feelings now. Shaq don't want none, man, F Shaq. So then he looked at me and he said, what was your game plan? I seriously went just like this. I grabbed him, I put him in a headlock. I said, listen, don't give this no energy. We ain't even going to talk about this in the locker room. Act like it never happened. I've never in my life went from 10 to 0 that fast before, ever. When he asked me, Mike, what was your game plan? I was still angry, but I was trying to think about what I was going to do. And as I was thinking about what I was going to do, it was almost like I was like, I'll grab his leg. No, wait. I'll grab him here. No, wait. I'll grab him by the arm. No, I was sitting there like, damn, what was I going to do? Like, I don't know. I'm not fighting Shaq. What the hell is wrong with me for even thinking about fighting Shaq? Like, I seriously went to that point. Like, I wanted to go in the locker room and be like, Shaq, I'm sorry. Like, I apologize for coming at you like this. I thought he was going to run in our locker room. Like, I thought he was going to be in the shower and be like, wait a minute. Can't leave. I let this little dude disrespect me like that. I'm sitting there looking at the door like, I hope this big dude don't run up in this locker room right now.
Wow, that's crazy.
But the funny part of the story is we played Miami like a week later again. And Dwayne Wade didn't play this game. And this is when Gary Payton was on the team. Okay. And so Gary Payton, you know, he scored maybe like the first 6 points of the game. And I was like, okay, GP, you know, he feeling himself today. So I'm like, you know, I'm still coasting in the game. So then GP, he scored a basket and he did his little, and he looked me up and down and all of that. And when he looked me up and down like that, I said, what? I said, like that to him. And so he's pissed at me right now, right? So then he said, you talk a lot of mess, Mike. You talk a lot of mess. I ain't Shaq. So in my head, I said, ooh, they talked about that. Like, ooh, like, so I felt pretty good that they talked about that moment. So I tapped him on the shoulder and I whispered in his ear. I said, GP, check it, right? I said, I'll bark loud and I'll bite hard. He said, I'll bite harder. I said, listen, we ain't got nothing to say to each other. Move him. So everywhere he went, I will follow him. He'll go talk to Pat Riley. I'll be standing right there. When he's bringing the ball up the court, I'm picking him up 95 feet. See, I wasn't playing him this hard in the beginning, but when he turned that heat up on me, my thing would always be, okay, I'm not going to fight you. It ain't about fighting, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pressure on you now. Now I'm going to turn up pressure. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about, but I want to see if you're that tough. Now you talking tough, so only way I know you ain't gonna throw no punch. So the only way that I can now win this chess match is now I'm picking you up 95 feet. I'm turning you 4 times in the back court. Offensively, I'm not going to let you rest on offense. Now I'm going to be aggressive every single play. So defensively, you're not going to be able to breathe. Offensively, you're not going to be able to breathe. So it was almost like they used to have in the scouting report, don't even talk to Mike. Leave him alone. Like, don't even say a word to him. Like, don't even get him started. Because as soon as you get me started, it was almost like something inside me be like, okay, now I'm turning pressure up on you now. So they would be like, listen, if he's having a bad game, if he's sleeping, let the dead dog sleep. Let the sleeping dogs sleep. And that was in the scouting report.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. What a couple of crazy stories. Wow, that's have you told that before or no? First time on here.
A couple of times I've told the Shaq story. People laugh, but it's funny though, man, because the only thing I really had was anger.
Right.
And that was the only thing I was going into that moment with. And I was like, yo, I've never been, I don't know. I've always been the type of person, even growing up as a kid. I never had my candy slapped out my hand. I had a bald head when I was a kid. I got braids now, but when I was a kid, I always kept a bald head. When I got a fresh bald head, ain't nobody licked their fingers and slapped me in the back of the head. Like I didn't get slapped in the back. So as a grown up, you wasn't going to little boy me.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna give me little boy moments because I never had them as a kid. So there's no trauma in those areas for me. So if you wanna get physical, I was a physical kid.
Right.
So when it's time to get physical, it was almost like something inside me would get excited.
Hmm.
Like that's when my adrenaline really gets going and my juice is really flowing now. Now this is when it gets serious, is when it gets physical. And so, I've always been a type of person where I'm one, it's a chess match, but two, you can't be tougher than me.
Yeah.
Like that's how I felt. Like it's impossible. Like it's impossible. You got to show me you tougher than me. That's why I was always ready to fight everybody because it was like I don't believe you. I don't believe you tougher than me.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's impossible. And maybe it was my own arrogance and my angels also protecting me.
Hey, hey,
Because
it's always great to have a player like you on a team that's trying to win, and you need a player like that with toughness uh, and
you know,
and and it's and then what do you call it? Say and then help their teammates.
yeah, got the team back. When I was playing in Toronto, we was playing against Dallas Mavericks, and Joey Graham slapped Jason Terry in the balls.
Mm-mm.
And Jason Terry is rolling around on the floor and he's screaming and he's like, but when he finally he gets up ready to fight Joey Graham now.
Oh, wow.
Now he's like, because he feels like Joey Graham did it on purpose. So now he's ready to fight. And he's all excited and he all like, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. And I remember going over to Jason Terry and I said, yo, Jay, listen, that ain't his beef. That's my beef. Leave it alone. Let's keep it basketball. Nah, Mike, he hit me in my balls. Nah, Mike, I ain't. Jay, let's keep it basketball. Get up off that. Like, we ain't even going to discuss this no more. Like, you throw a punch at him, it's me and you now.
Yeah.
And I know you don't want that smoke. So let's not even, man, leave that alone. Like, I'm saying sorry. I'm saying sorry for him. My bad. Come on, keep it basketball. Because if we go there, this ain't what you want. I'm jumping on you.
Hmm.
Like, I ain't even gonna let my young boy, this ain't his, this is mine. So I was always like that. I was always my protector of my teammates. Like I'm riding with y'all. Like if y'all my teammates, oh, we riding. We're gonna have fun together. We're gonna do stuff together. But if it go down, man, you got one. And I think that was probably the hardest thing for me to deal with in my career is that my teammates didn't believe this really about me.
Yeah.
It would be more of a competition. It would be more of I was more of an antagonist. I was more of competition with everyone, but they didn't really understand, like, yo, you got a real soldier in the foxhole with you.
Right.
You got somebody that's going to protect everybody in your family. Like, I'm gonna make sure you good. Like, we brothers now. We in this together. Like, I've never looked at my team just trying to manipulate or get anything from, or if you beat me out of a position, man, we still family. If we in competition in one way, we still got the same jersey on.
Mhm.
So no matter how we compete, our beef is only going to be internal. It'll never go outside of these walls because we a family. And that's just how I always approached it. Even though a lot of my teammates really didn't look at it that way because it's competition also.
Yeah. So, well, one of our fans just said, they said you should be a comedian with all these stories. They said.
You know, yeah, yeah. I got some good ones, man. I got some real interesting things that happened to me in my career, and I just be like, "Are you serious? This is happening?" Like, okay, I got one for you. This is so interesting to me. I've never experienced this ever happening to anyone ever in their life. But but then I would get labeled as, a hothead
Mm.
or a bad personality. I can remember I was in Milwaukee. We was playing against the Boston Celtics, and it was 7 minutes left in the third quarter, and I was 8 for 10 from the 3-point line.
Wow.
And in my head, when I looked up at the clock, I said, "Oh, I'm about to get 15 threes tonight." I
Mm.
said, in my head, I was like, "Oh, I don't know what record I'm about to break, but something's coming down tonight." So Terry Porter told me, he didn't sell me out, mind you, but he told my teammates, stop passing me the ball, right? So now the game, we blew Boston out, whatever. I was player of the game. Fast forward, I'm player of the game, the reporters and all that. So, we had a great game, but I had like 30 in the game, whatever. I finished 8 for like 12 from the 3-point line. I didn't hit another three in the game. Mind you, I wasn't tripping. I'm walking back to the locker room, and this is Terry Porter's post game speech. When all the
Yeah.
players go in the locker room, the first thing he says to him is, "Mike, who the hell do you think you are? You out there shooting threes like you somebody special? Don't you know we play them again next week? And who the hell you think you are?" I said, wait, am I getting chastised right now? Like, are you serious? I said, if I did it tonight, I'll do it again next week. Like, what's the problem? You don't effing disrespect people like that. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute. I'm getting chastised for having a great game.
Wow.
I said, wow. So I've had more moments. I've had more moments where I've had great things happen to me, and coaches like take it from me because of how they handled me in them situations. And it's like I can't even enjoy the victory because I'm pained by what I got to deal with in this moment. But yet I'm the player of the game. I'm the one that's supposed everyone's celebrating right now. But yet I'm feeling tormented. I'm walking away like I don't even want to talk to nobody. I don't even want to enjoy this right now. So I've had more moments like that. You know what I mean? Okay, I gotta go soon, but I'm gonna give you this last story.
Oh wait, for after
Game
after the story, talk about the championship, the Detroit, the 2004 championship team, real quick. Also afterwards.
I'm gonna talk about that. I got you.
Yeah.
Game we played Dallas Mavericks in
Mhm.
the playoffs. I think it was the '05 season.
Yeah.
And this is when, the scandal, the Cleveland scandal and all of that was going on. We won the first two games in the playoffs. They won the next two games at home, and then they won game three. So here it is. If we lose game six, we go home. I have this game six. I have, I think I had like 28 points. I fouled Dirk out. I fouled like three players out of the game. And I can remember they was trapping us at the end of the game. And I broke the press and I got an and one on Dirk. And it's like 2 minutes left in the game. And I'm killing in this game. This is game six in the playoffs. I'm juiced up. The crowd is going crazy. And I look at Jeff Van Gundy and he's like this.
Oh.
So I said to him, man, calm your ass down. I got this. I got this. He looked at me and said, what? Man, time out. I said, oh, damn. I said, you know what, Mike? You should have, I think you went a little too far in your celebration. He he called him out just to curse me out. And he says to me, who the hell you think you are? You ain't sugar honey iced tea. I have your A out of this league. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this right now. And I said, wait a minute. This ain't the regular season. I said, wait a minute. This is the playoffs. Coach, I said, we lose this game, we go home, right? I said, and this is what you got to talk to me about right now in this moment? I said, I'm trying to help this. I said, I turned my back on him. I turned my back as he's cussing me out. And I said, Mike, hit this damn free throw. Hit this free throw. This ain't got, I ain't got time to I ain't got time to listen to this right now. Mind you, my mindset came, I just came from Detroit.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Detroit? I just came from winning the championship.
Mhm.
I saw Chauncey, one of the greatest. I can remember when me and Chauncey hugged at half court. There's a picture of us hugging at half court.
Right.
And as we was walking towards each other, there was such a proud little brother moment that I was just like, I want my own championship though. I was like, I'm so happy for him, but I want my own. I want this feeling that he has. Like, I want this feeling that he has right now. You know what I mean? He was out there helping support him. You know, my role was that I was a supporter in the role, you know, of being on that team. He was the man on that team. And it's not that it was anything envious of it because I was willing to always play that role of little brother and be supporting Cass for the remainder of my career because that was the greatest team I've ever played on. And it was not just the greatest team, it was the greatest individual.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed being around each individual every single day. And that would have been a sacrifice that was not a sacrifice to be able to make off for the team. You know what I mean? Because I've never played on a team where we celebrated each other. We celebrated one another the way we celebrated one another. If the when the starters was in the game, the whole bench was up going crazy. When the bench was in the game, all the starters would be on the bench going crazy. She would look at me. She'd be like, "You ready?" I'd be like, "Nah, let me get her up and down first. Let me go and get loose first." And then he'll come back. He'd be like, "You ready?" I'd be like, I'm ready. He'd be like, "Come on, sick him." Like it's almost like he'll be taking leashes off me and Lindsay. We had like our own little pit bull, little. So as soon as me and Lindsay come in the game, the pit bulls is in the game. You know, so we had like our own little. It was like we had our everybody had like what they brought to the table and what they brought to the team.
Mm.
You know, and we was all individual great. You know, like everyone was dang good at their position, and we all came together and formed like Voltron. And we was all individuals that they basically said can't survive together because they won't be able to get along. There's too many personalities, and it was basically a yard of pit bulls. And if you wasn't a pit, somebody might grab you by your leg and shake it.
Hmm.
Like you better not come in that yard and you a Labrador. You better not have a Labrador personality. Like you better be a pit bull. Like you better come from that pit family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's all that we were. So it was beautiful. I mean, we would go to we would go to games when we go to the road, when we come off the road, like we'd be on a road trip. Rip, every city we go to, Rip be like, yo, we meeting downstairs 30 minutes. And that was to everybody. So that's basically whoever's meeting downstairs 30 minutes, the whole team going out.
Hmm.
You know, it wasn't just two guys over here, two guys over here, three guys over here. Man, we was coming into spots. We'll go to the club, 15 of us.
Wow.
Like we looking like a gang, like a serious gang. I mean, we walking up in the spot, it's all of us sitting on a wall like this together just enjoying each other. And that's how we hung out when we hung out in Detroit. I didn't just hang out with just Chauncey or just she. We all went everywhere together. We'll go eat together. We'll go bowl together, but it's all of us,
Wow.
all 12, 13 of us.
Wow.
That was something that I've never experienced another year in my career.
Yeah, and
And
you guys had a great coach in Larry Brown to lead you guys.
man,
Yeah.
Larry Brown taught me something. Larry Brown, play the right way. Play the right way. Larry Brown used to always scream, play the right way, play the right way. And that was his thing, man. Larry Brown, he was the head of the snake.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Mike James, NBA champion, came in for a full of stories, man. Amazing stories, funny stories, electric stories. And the fans, all the fans loved it. By the way, they loved all the stories and keep up the great work, man. And keep it up with the videos because those. By the way, whoever's following, go follow Mike James on Instagram. All the fans, please go follow him right now. He does a lot of inspiration videos when it comes to lifting people's life and motivate them, and a lot of people are dealing with mental health. So a lot of sports athletes do a lot of amazing things to help deal with mental health, and you're one of them. So please keep up the great work, and can't wait. And we always look at your videos, and thank you again for joining. And man, this was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you, man. Take care. Anytime.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.